This podcast is for voice teachers and coaches to answer the question, how do I grow my teaching business and even break out of that one-on-one lesson model so that I can reach and teach who I want whenever I want? I'm your host, Allie Tyler, voice teacher of over a decade and marketing and business coach for fellow voice teachers. Welcome to the Voicepreneur podcast. Hello, lovely voice teacher. Oh my God. This episode, oh my gosh. I'm literally staring right now at, 4 pages of notes. Here we go. 4 pages of notes. We are talking about creating easy ways to make money with new offers, bonuses, and Black Friday vibes. Now, here's the thing. When I say Black Friday vibes, I know that, first of all, Black Friday is obviously not celebrated everywhere in the world. And truthfully, it's a terrible American holiday. I actually hate it so much. It's very, very odd for me to be recording this episode, but I am recording it because this was the top rated, most wanted request on Instagram stories. And here's the other thing. Black Friday has incidentally helped a lot of small businesses grow tremendously. So you can't shame it for that. And I am definitely one of them. So here's the other thing. Black Friday vibes. This can also mean that it does not have to be during Black Friday. You can apply all of this stuff that we are talking about for any type of party or flash sale. Maybe you have like a birthday or you have a meaningful, topic that you want to be talking about that month and you want to have kind of a flash sale around that. So it's Black Friday vibes, but it does not necessarily have to be about and around Black Friday. This is, oh my gosh, this is like such a big episode. And also very interesting for me to be writing about because I'm going to be the very first person to say, I will say it right from the get-go as we are starting this episode, I am not a Black Friday specialist. Okay. There are people out there who are, and they have so much more to talk about on this topic. And I just want to give you some of the thoughts that I have toyed around with over the years that I have done this myself, that I have played around with all kinds of strategies and different ways of really just thinking about making money, right? So that's really what the emphasis of this episode is about. And I've talked about this before. I've also posted about this recently on Instagram stories, but I love thinking about this analogy of our business being a room and that in every corner of this room, there is so much money to be had and to be made. And what happens is we end up kind of hanging out in one area of that room, but we don't really see all the other corners and all the other spaces and all the other things and opportunities that are actually all around us, right? And so that's really what I want this episode to focus on, is for you to really be thinking about, how can I get creative with making more money? So, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And I can't wait to come back to this maybe in a year from now and just amplify it even more, because this is something that I continually learn about as I am doing business in all the which ways with my multiple businesses. So I feel like I'm going to have so much more to talk about in future episodes. But here is what we are going to be talking about today. I want to actually start the conversation with first acknowledging that, of course, I just started this entire episode talking about how, we want to make money and that there's all these different ways that we can make money. And at the same time, because running a business and living life is all about the dance with duality, at the same time, I do not want you to go about this with the intention of making a bunch of money. Okay? That is the side effect. That's what I always think about. It's like, what if I was just in my alignment and in my flow and I was doing this because it's so much fun and because I really, really, really want to help and support people, especially people who, need these affordable options. What if I'm just so dedicated to that the money part is actually just a byproduct of me being so devoted to serving? So that's how I really want to be thinking about this first and foremost, is that yes, there are a million ways to be making money. And at the same time, that is not the primary focus. Okay. This is about creating the perfect offer for the perfect person who has been wanting this and is excited and is ready to learn from you. That's what I want you to think about, is I am creating this offer for the person who is so freaking excited to learn from me, and they have been wanting this, and it is exactly the right moment in their life to have this thing, whatever this thing is. Also, another thing that I love to think about for these types of things is that this is a party. Okay, let's make Black Friday vibes and all of the vibes around that a party, right? So this kind of really helps take the pressure off of it. And for me, it instantly makes it so much more fun. So you get to decide, right? Like how big this party is going to be. It could be 24 hours. It could be 3 days. Oh my gosh, you guys. That's a really funny moment. I was like, I actually don't know what day Black Friday lands on. Okay, so it lands on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days. That's perfect. Wow, that was like the weirdest brain fart I think I've had in a long time. So it could be 24 hours. It could be 3 days. It could be a whole week affair, right? You can make the party however big you want. And something that I recommend, and something to definitely think about, is that the more offers that you have, the longer your party is. So you can roll them out individually, right? So let's say you do a whole week and it is a Black Friday freaking party, man. It is a whole week affair, and every 48 hours or so, I can't do the math if that actually adds up to a week. If you do, 3 offers every 48 hours, you can roll them out one by one, right? Or maybe you do every day is an offer if you have 7 offers. And so they buy it at that insanely discounted blah, 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 or with all these bundled offers, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But, they do it in 24 hours. And then the next day there's another thing and they do that in 24 hours. You could do it like that as well. But of course, this is going to depend on all kinds of variables that we're going to talk about in just a second. But ultimately, what I really want you to think about is that this is a party, and you can literally market it like that. You can think about it like that. You can celebrate it like that. Like, I want this to be as fun, as simple, as non-stressful as possible. I have had Black Friday experiences that were so freaking stressful for me. I remember one year, I don't even remember, I should have researched before I got in here, but I did some sort of sale with I think it was my Discover Your Voice course. I don't actually remember maybe it was the other one, but I did some sort of Black Friday something or other. And it was just like one offer, but I just went so bananas with trying to make it all perfect and, sending out the emails at the exact right time and the graphics that went in the email and making the sales page all so pretty. And like, I stressed the fuck out of myself, and I did not make nearly as much money as that was worth. It was a really, really good lesson for me. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. Like, I freaking love my failures. I love when I go for it and I do it wrong. So here's the other thing is, if this is your very first time doing this, oh my gosh, it is okay to do it wrong. I commend you for doing it in the first place. And also, I'm going to correct my language there and not say wrong, because there's no such thing as wrong either. But let's say not as supportive as you would want, right? Like, that is perfect. That is so perfect, because then you can know in the future what is supportive for you. That is so much more valuable than literally anything else. Ooh, I'm going on a tangent. Okay, come back. We got to focus here. So here's the thing. We're going to make it a party. It's going to be so much fun. It's not going to be stressful. It's going to be great. And here's the other thing that I highly recommend doing, and this is like juicy, juicy tip right here, is that this is a perfect opportunity for you to build your email list. And here's what I mean. It's so freaking simple, y'all. We do not have to have a freebie when we do something like this, because we're just going to send people directly to a link that is connected some which way or another to either an email tag tag or an email sequence, depending on your email platform, but it is going to be set up in such a way where you are creating an email Black Friday party, right? So let's say that I hop on Instagram stories and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I have this awesome Black Friday party that is coming up. And oh my God, you definitely want to get on this list because the offers are insane and it's going to help you with X, Y, and Z. And the only way that you are going to be a part of this party is if you come and be a part of this party via email. I didn't say that very well, but essentially you're like, this is only on email. You got to get on my email list if you want to be a part of the Black Friday party. Here is the link, right? And now you're building up your email list, which is so freaking cool. So that's a really fun little hot tip for you. Now let's get into the juiciness. Let's get into the juiciness of the Black Friday vibes. Okay. So like I said, you can apply this for all the things. Here's the first thing that you're going to do. You're going to set your objective. In other words, what is the goal of this party, right? So obviously, it's to make more money. But like I said, that's also not what we're going for here. So that's too vague and that's not what we're talking about. What we are talking about is something super specific. So for example, maybe you want to have more private students. And so your goal is visibility or exposure, right? You want to get more people into your private studio. Or maybe you want to get members into your membership. Or maybe you want to sell one of your online courses. Maybe you want to have more brand awareness. And what I mean by brand awareness is you want people to get a true taste of your teaching style before they actually commit to one-on-one lessons with you. And that is another really, really important hot tip. So if you didn't hear that, I'm going to say that one more time, that something I love to think about when it comes to brand awareness and selling these kind of little micro offers, so to speak, is that you are helping people get to know the type of teacher that you are prior to them investing to work with you one-on-one. I've said this once and I'll say it a million times. It's bananas that people spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on voice lessons every month. Like, how freaking amazing is that? And also, that's an investment, right? And some people are like, I kind of want to do that, but I need to make sure that you're like the right teacher, right? And of course, we can do that with our free intro lessons. That's absolutely a way to do that. But who wants to give up their time all the time? What if you actually looked at it from the lens of, maybe I could create some sort of mini offer, which we're going to talk about in just a second. And this is really going to showcase what I'm all about and what I teach and the concepts that I teach and, the types of results that I help my students get. And then they can kind of get to know me through this offer. It's generally going to be something passive, so you don't even really have to be involved. It's all pre-recorded. But they will get to know you, they will like you, and then they will trust you, and then perhaps they will become a one-on-one student of yours. I have a very distinct person that I'm thinking of right now in my world that this exact thing happened with her, where she joined my Discover Your Voice program, and then she joined the next thing, and then she became a one-on-one student of mine. So I think it's a really, really great objective, right? Is to be like, I want to build a little bit more brand and teaching awareness. And then the other thing I'm thinking about too is maybe you have an upcoming program or an offer that is, let's say, coming out in the new year or in a couple of months or whatever, right? It's something that's coming soon. This is also a great time to build a wait list for that. So that's the first thing, is to set your objective. What is the goal of your party? You can have a couple of goals, but I would say probably not more than 2. Depending on where you're at with your business. All right, next part. The thing that I really want us to be thinking about in this last little bit here is that when you are creating your offer or offers, oh man, this is, as I'm like even recording this, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's even so much more to talk about. Because I think one of the biggest challenges with this episode in writing it is that there are so many directions that we can go. And I know that this audience who listens to this podcast is quite large. So here's the thing. I'm going to dive into these two aspects, and I really, really want you to take what feels good for you. Okay, so even at this point, this is a perfect time to grab your notebook and take some notes, or save this so that you can come back later, so that you can visually look at all of these different options and you can feel into what feels good for you. Okay, there's just so many directions we can go here. And like I said, I'm not a specialist in this, and there are still a bazillion places that we can go. Okay, so let's talk about the two main aspects that I want you to be thinking about. Okay, number one, what you want, right? And we're going to dig into that a little bit more than what I just talked about here with your goal, but what you ultimately want, and then what your audience wants, what your people want, right? So when we're thinking about the people first, here's something I want you to really dig into. Who is buying this offer? And more specifically, why do they want this offer? What is it going to help them with? So, for example, I was working with a voice teacher client last week on her Black Friday ideas. And one of the things that I loved that she put together was that one of her offers was really focused on vocal health. And I was like, oh, that's so good, because that is speaking to the singer who is struggling with, let's say, sustainability or vocal health, right? Like they are constantly losing their voice, or maybe they're on tour and they don't know how to keep their voice in shape, or maybe they're auditioning all the time, but they lose their voice all the time with all the stress, right? Man, there's a lot of directions we can go with vocal health, but that is a very specific person, right? It's a very targeted result. It's a very targeted thing that you are helping them with. So that's something to really think about, is who are you creating this offer for? Why do they want this offer? Why do they want this offer? My dear, lovely, beautiful friend, my voice teacher friend that I love you, but this is an I love you, but moment. Just because you think that something like mastering your mix or your forward resonance or your head voice is super helpful does not mean that they want it, right? Just because we know what the concept is that we are helping them with is awesome, and we want to make a whole program or an offer or a thing around it, does not mean that they want that thing. That could be a thing that helps them with something that they want, but it's not necessarily the thing. And I say that because I've gotten on so many calls with voice teachers where I ask them, okay, well, so, what's your idea? What do you want to offer? And then they come up with this really cool, super, super cool, maybe it's a workshop idea or a program idea, but it's very techno-babbly. And then I go, cool, so what's the problem that you're solving here? It's I'm helping them with belting. Okay, there we go. Let's use that language, right? Okay, why do they want to belt? Oh, well, they really want to sound like blah, blah, blah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, now we're starting to get at the meat of it, and they want to sound like this person, but they're not, and that's the problem. Right? So, and that's actually a really obvious one. Belting, I feel like, is a super obvious one. There are a lot more subtle ones, but ultimately, I want you to really think about, why do they want this offer? Why do they want this offer? What is it going to help them with? Okay? So that's the who. And now moving on to the you, your part of the equation, what you actually want. Here's two things I want you to think about. Number one is where you're at in your business journey right now. And number two is what you actually want in the long run. Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you. So number one, matching your fun offers and bonuses with where you're at in your business journey. Meaning that if you are only teaching private lessons right now and you don't have a lot of offers, that is totally okay. You can still create some sort of little party, and it doesn't have to be a long one, right? No stress. You can do what you want. So here's a couple of things I want you to think about if that's you. If you are somebody who is just teaching private lessons, you don't have a lot of offers, but you still want to create some sort of Black Friday vibe party type thing. I love thinking about this because this is also going to just change everything for you when it comes to making money in general. You've probably heard me talk about this in previous episodes, but if not, let's talk about it. We are talking about add-ons. Add-ons. I freaking love add-ons. And add-ons are, my God, the sky is the limit with add-ons. They are literally anything that you want to add on beyond private lessons that you want to charge for. And a great place to start is things that you're already doing, but you can also be thinking about very, very low scale, low stress, super simple things that you can also add on and obviously, make a little bit more money from. So video feedback, that's a big one. Video feedback essentially is just, exactly like it sounds, where somebody sends you a video and then you send feedback back via video. And, let's say somebody sends you a warm up and they're like, hey, I'm really struggling with this section over here, and then you send a video back, and then you get the idea. You've probably heard about this before. So video feedback, that's a wonderful, wonderful add-on. A resource library, that's another really cool one too. So this could literally just be like anything you want, but I'm thinking about lots of warm-ups. It could be practice logs. It could be cheat sheets. It could be stretching exercises. It could be meditations. Oh my gosh, literally the list goes on and on and on. So resource library, however that vibes with you. Here's another one, customized warm-up track. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Big one. If you are already doing this and you are not charging for it, this is your cue to rethink that in the new year. You definitely want to charge for something like that. That is a really, really cool thing. Here's another one. And these ones are really fun. I've been vibing off of these with the clients that I've been working with. So kind of thinking about special offers or containers. So for example, maybe you do something that's like you could get one voice lesson and one customized warm-up track, or one voice lesson and one customized practice plan and one customized warm-up track, or 2 lessons and 1 month of video feedback, or, something like that, where it's kind of its own thing, right? You can combine different things and make its own special container. And again, it really, really helps to be thinking about who this offer is for. So side note, I did this recently where I changed up all of my one-on-one containers for you all, for voice teachers. And oh my gosh, I am fucking loving it. I'm loving it so much. I have landed on containers that I feel like are really helping people. It's meeting people exactly with where they're at and their goals and what they want. It's serving me in the best way with my time. Oh my gosh. And I literally did exactly what I'm talking about, where I combined different things, where it was kind of like I combined sessions with some other ends and odds. And you can just click on the link inside of the show notes to literally look at all of these different offers for yourself. But I'm saying this because you may, forewarning, accidentally, incidentally do this type of thing in your regular life, in your regular teaching life, I should say. And that is great too. But let's start here. You can just start right here with the Black Friday vibes with some sort of special container for that period of time, right? So the other really fun thing to think about here is that if you are kind of in this period where you are transitioning from, let's say, clients to courses, that's a very fun, fancy way of saying that, but essentially, you're going from, okay, I have these one-on-one clients, but I actually want to sell something beyond private lessons. I want to sell a membership or an online course or yada, yada, and you are making that transition right now. But you have not created the thing yet, but you know that you're going to. Maybe 2024 is your year. This is actually a perfect time to get people on board with you in that transition. So, for example, you could say something like, join the resource library for the next 2 days, and then you're also going to get 50% off and then you could say the program you're working on. So maybe it's 50% off the Own Your Voice program that's coming in 2024, right? So it's a really great time to harness this energy of getting people on board for something that's happening in the future, if that feels relevant and aligned for you. All right, so that is probably where I would start if I were in that boat of I only have private lessons and I have nothing else to really offer, but I still want to do something fun. Cool. Now, if you are in the boat of I do have offers, I have other things that I could offer to people, great. That is awesome, because here's one of the biggest things I want you to really take away from this. Rather than thinking about discounting on all of your offers, which I know Black Friday is all about big discounts, and I'm not saying to not discount, like you can still do that, but rather than really thinking about that being the focus, I think it's so much fun to also consider adding things, right? Adding pieces of content or bundling things together, right? So this is where you get to start really playing into what you actually desire. So remember how before I said we're going to talk about two things. I said we're going to talk about where you're at in your business journey, and then we're going to talk about what it is that you actually desire. So they kind of go hand in hand, of course. And here's how I really want to think about this. If you want more one-on-one students, add one-on-one coaching incentives. If you want more passive income, add more content, right? So you want to be aligning the offer with what it is that you actually want. So, for example, if you are somebody that has a lot of offers, then you don't necessarily need to be focused on getting one-on-one students and trading in more of your time, because I'm guessing you have these offers so that you don't have to sacrifice so much of your time. That's kind of half the reason that we are here, right? We are here to grow our business, but we're also here to scale our business. So if that's the case, here's a really fun thing that you can do. You can start digging for micro offers. Look through the components of each of your offers that you have right now, and see if there are any actionable trainings or resources or anything that will really help your student experience some sort of quick win. It could be an exercise, it could be all kinds of things, right? But we want them to be actionable, and we want them to help your student experience a win, achieve something, a result. So, for example, I have a training inside of my online course called Own Your Voice, and inside of that training, it is all about how to add musical expression to your songs. So that entire course is for amateur adults who want to discover and express their voice. And so part of that is learning how to actually be expressive with their voice. And so this training has exercises and examples. I have a clear step-by-step practice log. I have several warm-up tracks, right? And so I could actually take just that one little training that's inside of this entire course, I could package it up, and I could create some sort of mini program or mini workshop that somebody could buy during this Black Friday party. Actually, they could literally just buy that at any point, at any time on my website. And I could do that right now if I wanted to. That's actually maybe something I'll do one day. But that's what I'm saying, is looking at the content that you already have, maybe looking through your programs, maybe looking through, the tracks that you're giving out your students. There's all kinds of places that we are creating content, essentially, and helping our students experience things. So we want to figure out how to bundle that up into some sort of micro offer that we could sell, that we could package in, that we could include in some sort of container, right? It could be a lot of different things. And again, go back to who that offer is for if you want to really kind of figure out these micro offers to include in there. The other thing that you could do here is you could do a mixture or a combination of all the things, right? So last year, for example, during Black Friday, I had a couple of goals in mind. One of them was I wanted more members inside of the Voicepreneur program. And the other was that I did want more one-on-one clients. And I know that sounds kind of funny. Those are like two opposing thoughts, but I actually love having one-on-one clients. Like I can't live my life without having people that I am chatting with and coaching. And it's a huge, huge, huge part of me being a better coach inside of the Voicepreneur program and creating trainings and offers and programs, because I can't create that curriculum unless I am working with people one-on-one. So at that point in my business journey last year, those two things were really important to me. And so I made a little mixture of both. And so I said, if you come and join the Voicepreneur program in this amount of time, then you will get, I think, what did I do? I did 3 30-minute coachings with me for free, which is that's a good little deal right there. So I got a lot of people in the program. I got to meet with people face to face. It was a win-win, and I loved doing it that way. So that's an example of how you can do kind of a combination of both, especially if you have multiple goals in mind. So I'm going to conclude this episode with just a couple of little strategies that you can think on and play around with yourself. I'm going to give you some action steps, and we're going to take it from there. This is a hefty episode. I knew it would be, but we're doing it. All right. So here's some really fun ideas. So if you are, let's say you want to get a little bit more visibility, a great thing that you could do is you could offer, let's say, some sort of affiliate program. And you don't have to even call it that, but essentially what this means is that you are giving people money for them referring and helping you sign on a new student. So every time they refer somebody to you and that person becomes an actual paying student of yours, then you can give that person a certain amount of money. And I love doing it this way because people love receiving money. And this is a little different than, get a free voice lesson for every person that you refer in my studio. I tried that for a long time. And it was kind of funny. I one day I was like, what if we just switched it? And I was like, what if I just gave them the amount of that actual voice lesson? And I framed it that way. If you get me a new student, for every new student that you sign into the whole voice studio, you will get, and then it was the exact amount of the voice lesson. I can't even remember what that was. Maybe it was like $75 or something. People were so much more excited to get $75 than they were to get a free voice lesson. Isn't that so funny? Psychology is hysterical in that way. So that's a really, really fun one, is to give people money, right? Maybe you give them a lot of money if they sign on for a certain amount of months. So that's a really fun one, is to give people a certain amount of money. And if you want to continue on this route, and, like I said, I don't always recommend doing discounts, but occasionally they're okay to do. I enjoy giving people discounts when they pay for things in full or upfront and it's a larger amount, right? So maybe you take that to the next level and you say something along the lines of, students who commit to voice lessons for 6 months with me, and they pay upfront, they're going to get X amount off, or they're going to get this percentage off, right? Or if you pay for 3 months in full of weekly lessons, then you're going to get this much off, that type of thing. So you could do that as some sort of flashy party type vibe. And like I said, my gosh, there's just so many things. The biggest piece of advice I could give you in terms of finding strategies is to just take a look around. Look around at what other people are doing, get on people's email lists and look at just, especially like the people who are actually crushing it. Don't compare yourself to people where you're like, I'm not even really sure if they're doing it, right? If they're doing it, and look at all of the different types of industries, not just voice teaching, then I would open up my notes app and I would write that down. Write it all down. Get all the ideas, get all of the strategies, and then you can really think through and feel through what feels good for you. Oh my gosh, that is so much. Are you overwhelmed? Are you totally overwhelmed yet? Okay, here's your action steps. We're going to sum this episode up with a beautiful bow. That didn't feel like the right cliche. We're going to package this episode up and put a bow on it with these action steps. Are you ready? Number 1, you're going to establish your goal. What is the goal of this Black Friday party vibe? Number 2, decide who you are actually selling it to. Is it your email list, your private students, both? Like, who are you going to be blasting this thing out to? Number 3, brainstorm what those people are wanting and looking for right now. Number 4, write down all of your ideas of all the different ways that you can be making money. If you have lots of offers, dig in for your micro offers. If you don't have any offers, think about the things that you're already doing, right? Or the things that maybe wouldn't take very much of your time, but would totally benefit your student. Number 4, start piecing together these different offers in a way that feels good for you and your audience based off of everything that we talked about today. Number 5, pick your timeline. And number 6, go for it. Tease it out. Start right now. Start talking about it right now. You don't have to talk about the logistics, but tease it. There's a freaking party, y'all. It is going to be awesome. It's going to help you with X, Y, and Z. I am so pumped to help you in this way. You better get on my email list, right? Like, start it tomorrow. There's no reason that you can't start teasing this right now. Okay, my love. I hope that was helpful for you. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to hear what you take away from this. This was like probably one of the heftiest episodes I've put out in a while. Wow, it feels so good. This is the type of work that I love doing. So I want to hear from you on Instagram, what landed for you, if you're going to be doing a Black Friday anything, what you're thinking about. I want to hear all about it. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to support you. And if you want further support, you want one-on-one coaching, or you want support inside of a community and the self-paced programs and all kinds of juice, definitely check the links inside of the show notes, and I am here to support you in every way that I can. I can't wait to hear how this goes. I love you so much, and I will catch you in the next episode. Oh my goodness, that was so juicy, and I'm so glad you're still here listening. You are amazing, and I can't wait to see what you take away from this episode and what you bring into your teaching business. Oof, it is going to be so good. If you want to come and see for yourself what it means to grow and scale your teaching business, come and check out the resources inside of the show notes or visit us over at thevoicepreneur.com. If you enjoyed this episode, take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at The Voicepreneur. Or if that's not your vibe, that's totally fine. Share it with your 2 best voice teacher friends so that we can continue spreading the good word that you can create a sustainable, spacious, and fun as fudge cake teaching business that makes an enormous impact on your students' lives and your life and your bank account. It's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much, and I can't wait to see how your business changes your life. I'll catch you in the next episode.